The girl who couldn't walk, but could burn. In the heart of East Africa lay a dusty, sun-scorched town called Magoga, a place where life moved slowly, but the weekly market stirred everything like a festival of survival. Every Thursday, from sunrise to the last golden light of dusk, Magoga Bazaar came alive with vibrant stalls, shouting vendors, spicy aromas, and stories hiding in every corner. People called it the Market of Souls, not because of what was sold, but because of what was felt. Amid the shouting and clatter of metal and wood, rolled a small wheelchair. Its wheels creaked slightly over the uneven sand, guided with care by a middle-aged helper named Nora. Sitting in that chair was Asiya, a young woman with luminous brown skin and thoughtful eyes, whose legs hadn't moved since childhood. She was paralyzed, but not powerless. Her silence was deeper than words. Her eyes wandered over the crowd, not searching for items, but for him. Freeze. He stood tall behind a modest wooden stall, his hands moving swiftly as he arranged colorful bangles on a red velvet cloth. He wasn't just a seller, he was an artist. His face, framed by sun-drenched curls, carried a quiet smile that seemed carved by sunlight itself. Every week, Asiya came here. And every week, she stopped at his stall. "Greater than there it is," she whispered to Nora, eyes locked on the boy. Fariz looked up and smiled, the kind of smile that made time hesitate. "Greater than your back," he said softly. "I saved some new ones for you." Asiya's lips barely parted, but her heart thudded like a drum under her ribs. She nodded. Nora pushed the wheelchair closer. Fariz leaned in, picking up a bangle shaped like a twisted flame. "Greater than this color will suit your skin," he said, his fingers brushing hers for a fleeting second. Asiya held her breath. It was the only touch she'd allowed herself to dream about. Behind her, the market buzzed. Women bargained. Men shouted prices. Kids weaved through legs, chasing faded plastic balls. But Asiya had only one thing on her mind, him. Then, suddenly, Asiya turned her head and asked the shopkeeper next to Fariz, "Greater than, are you thirsty? The sun's cruel today." He chuckled, shaking his head, but others around began nodding, laughing politely. Asiya turned to Nora. "Greater than, go back home. Bring the bottles, the cold ones from the freezer. Bring enough for all the stallkeepers." Nora hesitated. "You sure?" "Greater than, yes," Asiya said firmly. "They stand here all day. It's the least I can do." And so, under the burning sun, Asiya waited as Nora walked back home through the narrow streets of Magoga. She stayed by Fariz's stall, watching him polish bangles, laughing softly at a joke from the woman next door. Asiya smiled too, but it was a sad smile. She wasn't a customer. She was a quiet hurricane wearing a patient face. "Greater than one day," she whispered to herself, "you'll see me. Not the chair." That day ended like every other. Fariz waved goodbye with a kind, casual smile. And Asiya turned away, hiding the ache she'd carried in silence since the first time she saw him. But this time, something had changed. Not in him, in her. She wasn't just in love anymore. She was falling into something deeper, something darker. "Greater than, this market doesn't just sell bangles," Asiya murmured under her breath. "It sells destinies. And I'm not leaving empty-handed." 3 weeks passed. Each Thursday, Asiya came to Magoga Bazaar, dressed in soft, elegant colors that made her stand out even in her wheelchair. Her helper, Nora, had started noticing the changes. Asiya spent more time on her appearance. She asked Nora to braid her hair differently each week. She chose her bangles more carefully now, not for herself, but for him. "Greater than, do you think red suits me, Nora?" "It always has, child." "No. I mean, do you think Fariz notices it?" Nora fell quiet. She knew what was brewing. She had seen this kind of attachment before, and how it broke people. But Asiya wasn't the kind you could easily stop. Her father was a local chief, her family held power, and Asiya had grown up knowing how to get what she wanted. Her disability had made her sharper, not weaker. That Thursday, after buying 3 more sets of bangles, ones she didn't need, she lingered at Fariz's stall. The bazaar was thinning out. Sunset burned orange across the sky. "Greater than, Fariz," she said, her voice softer than usual. "Why don't you ever ask me anything?" He raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "Greater than, you talk to others. Joke with them. But with me, it's always just bangles." Fariz gave a sheepish smile, uncomfortable. "You're a customer, Asiya. A regular. I respect that. Greater than, is that all I am to you? A customer?" There was a pause. Fariz looked down at his bangles and gently began folding the cloth over them. "Greater than, I'm sorry," he said, "I don't mean to be rude, but you come from a different world." She tilted her head. Greater than you mean my wheelchair. Fariz swallowed. Greater than no. I mean your name. Your status. You're the chief's daughter. I sell glass. Asiya stared at him. Her eyes didn't blink. They shimmered with something heavy. Greater than, and yet, I'm here. Every week. For you. He didn't reply. Instead, he turned, lifting a small wooden crate behind the stall. That was the end of that day. But not the end of Asiya's desire. That night, in her room, Asiya stared at her ceiling for hours. Her fan creaked above, and Nora slept on a mattress near her chair. Greater than, he will never look at me like he looks at them, she whispered. Then her eyes narrowed. Greater than, unless I give him something. Unforgettable. Next Thursday. This time, Asiya did something different. She brought cold bottled water, not just for Fariz, but for every single vendor in the market. Men and women cheered, clapped for her generosity. Someone called her a queen. Asiya smiled, but her eyes were fixed on Fariz. He clapped too, politely. But he kept his distance. Later, when the crowd thinned, Asiya rolled closer and placed a single blue bangle on his stall. Greater than a gift, she said. For you. Fariz laughed nervously. Greater than, but I don't wear bangles. Then keep it. So you never forget me. There was silence. Too long. Too raw. Greater than, Asiya, he said slowly, I respect you. I do. But. Don't do this. Greater than, do what? She whispered. Greater than, fall for a man like me. I can't. I won't. Love someone out of pity. And I won't lead you on. Then came the sharpest wound. Greater than, I'm not interested in someone like you. You deserve more. Someone else. Her hands trembled. Her voice cracked like glass. Greater than, so. You won't marry me? Greater than, no. She stared at him, wide-eyed. Then, with a voice trembling between heartbreak and desire. Greater than, then. Spend one night with me. Just one. No marriage. No promises. Just. Be mine. Just once. Fariz stepped back as if burned. Greater than, you're not well, Asiya. He turned and walked away. That night, Asiya cried. Not loud sobs. But slow, poisonous tears that rolled down her cheek like ink from a broken pen. And in those tears, something twisted. A seed. Not of sorrow. Of vengeance. Greater than, if I can't have your love, she whispered to the darkness. Then I'll have your world. And I'll shatter it. One bangle at a time. The next morning, Asiya didn't leave her room. Not for breakfast. Not for her mother. Not even for Nora. She stared blankly at the bangles on her table, blue, red, gold, black. One of them still held Fariz's touch. And that was enough to awaken her hatred. She wasn't crying anymore. She was planning. By evening, Asiya had gathered a list. Shopkeepers. Vendors. Names. Faces. She had memorized all the people Fariz laughed with, the men who shared their tea breaks, the women who praised his eyes. She called Nora. Greater than, prepare baskets of bangles, she ordered. For free distribution next week. Make sure each one looks beautiful. Expensive. Touching. Greater than, and the water? Nora asked. Greater than, we will offer it again. But this time, Asiya smiled faintly, with a little something special. The sun baked the ground early. Magoga Bazaar buzzed like a hive of heat and greed. Fariz was setting up his stall when Asiya arrived, not in her usual cotton dress, but in a white sari, flowing like a ghost. She handed out bangles in ornate paper wraps, hugging women, laughing with men. Shopkeepers praised her beauty and generosity. A few called her a blessing from above. She handed each of them cold water bottles from her basket, smiling as they drank. Fariz watched from a distance. She didn't come to his stall that day. Instead, she whispered to herself. Greater than, let him feel ignored. Just once. Like he did to me. By noon, the first scream came from a fruit seller. Then a bangle vendor collapsed face first. A butcher's wife started vomiting. Sirens echoed before sunset. Ambulances swarmed. 6 vendors were rushed to the local hospital. 2 died on the way. The poison water bottles became national news. News channels flashed. Greater than, generous chief's daughter linked to bazaar poisoning? Deadly bangles of Magoga Market, 2 dead, 4 critical. Shopkeepers' widows demand justice. Fariz sat stunned at home. He recognized every victim. They had all received gifts from her. Within 48 hours, the widows of the dead shopkeepers formed a group. Sachin du, let us breathe. They camped outside Asiya's mansion. They shouted slogans. They held up pictures of the dead. One woman screamed on live television. Greater than, just because she's in a wheelchair doesn't mean she's innocent. She's a killer. Faiz was invited to speak on a channel. He refused. But inside, his guilt crushed him. He knew. This was all because of him. Asia's father, Chief Barkhad, exploded with rage. Greater than you poison people? Are you insane? Asia didn't flinch. Greater than they disrespected me. He humiliated me. They laughed at me. Her mother wept. Her siblings stopped talking to her. Her younger brother called her a curse. And still, Asia smiled. To avoid complete riots, the government stepped in. Each widow was awarded 10 crores compensation. Every shopkeeper's family received land and security. But one demand remained. Greater than we want Asia arrested. And that's when the true chaos began. Her father used every contact. Every threat. He protected her. And that protection became another reason for the country to boil. Late one night, Faiz received a handwritten letter. It smelled faintly of jasmine. Greater than I poisoned them for you. I bled for you. Now come back to me. Or the next time, it'll be you. Faiz froze. He knew now. She wasn't just obsessed. She was insane. Greater than and far away. In her silent, candlelit room, Asia carved a single word into her wrist with a broken glass bangle. Mera. Not his. Mine. 3 weeks passed since the Magoga Bazaar poisoning. Asia's name had become a curse. Her face was blurred on national TV. Her father's empire shook with shame. But she was calm. Deadly calm. Because her next target wasn't just Faiz anymore. It was Amal. Faiz's beautiful, kind, perfect fiancé. Nora once showed Asia a photo on her phone. Amal and Faiz at a cafe, laughing, their fingers entwined. Amal was everything Asia could never be. Tall. Graceful. Unbroken. Asia stared at the screen, whispering. Greater than let's see how perfect she is. Without her legs, Asia hired someone through a dark online network, a man named Kaloum, known for handling accidents. She instructed him. Greater than I want her alive. But ruined. Greater than how ruined? Kaloum asked. Greater than like me, Asia said, her voice ice. Make her legs useless. And send me her screams. Within 5 days, Amal received an anonymous invitation to a charity art show, signed falsely under Faiz's name. She arrived alone in a white car. The road was quiet. The lights dimmed. Suddenly, a speeding truck collided from the side. The crash echoed through the street. Passers-by rushed to the car. Amal was pulled out, crying in shock and pain. Her spine was shattered. Doctors said she would never walk again. Greater than we tried everything, the surgeon told her family. Her legs are gone. When Faiz saw her in the hospital, her tears broke him. But she never cried about the accident. She cried about him. Greater than I was going to marry you standing. Now I'll roll down the aisle. If you leave and still have me. 1 week later, a nurse delivered a small, silver box to Amal's hospital room. Inside it, a pair of purple bangles. And a note. Greater than now we are the same. But I'm still more loved. Amal screamed until nurses sedated her. Faiz read the note and crushed it in his fist. Greater than she did this, he growled. She planned everything. She's not just obsessed. She's evil. The country, once mourning Asia's victims, now turned to Amal. The media crowned her the broken bride. Social media wept for her. People sent her letters, flowers, money. But Faiz changed. He became quiet, dark, vengeful. His love for Amal twisted into rage at the woman who destroyed her. At home, Asia heard whispers. Her brother spit near her wheelchair. Her mother refused to cook for her. Her father stared through her like she was already dead. She laughed in her room, brushing her hair, as if nothing was wrong. Greater than no one understands. I'm doing this for love. One night, she whispered to Nora. How will Faris cunningly ruin Asia? How will he change his identity, marry Asia, and destroy her world? Will Asia beg for forgiveness at Faris's feet? To find out, watch the next part of the story. To be continued.